Brooklyn Independent Television.
Welcome back to the Sty Dome in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and joining me is this young man. You've seen him before. We talk all the time.
Yes, we do.
So who you with right now, man?
Elio Velez with MSGvarsity.com.
Yeah, okay. So when did you make this transition?
I just made the transition earlier in the year, and MSG Varsity is growing. We're getting out to all the high schools. I work with the website. We're covering games on a daily basis. All around the city. So we're getting exposure, and hopefully we're in Bronx and Brooklyn on Cablevision, but we'll be hopefully around the city in the next few years to come.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, March Madness is here, right? And of course, several New York City high school ball players, especially in the boys' side, are playing across the country, and they're doing quite well.
Absolutely. I think that's what New York City basketball is all about. The rest of this country come here because we produce, all ranges of kinds of talents, from point guards to centers to everything.
Point guard has really,
well,
New York City has made really.
Well, there's cycles. Well, I think there's cycles, and it just happens, that we produce tiny Archibald, we produce the type of point guards that could start in the NBA and college, but it's a cycle thing. But right now, it's about quickness, about the wing players, your forwards, your small guards, forwards who can do a whole bunch of different things, the athletes, and that's what the demands right now. But as you see, listen, Kentucky could want a kid like Deron Lamb from Bishop Loughlin, and he's doing very well as a sophomore. One of the best shooters that I saw on the high school level.
And from the University of Florida,
Irving Walker, 5. Oh, he's a fantastic guard. 5'8". Yeah, Christ the King. Could shoot, quick passing, and he's done very well at Florida.
Your thoughts about as far as the different players that are playing across the city, playing across the country at the collegiate level?
Well, I think in general that the play of New York City basketball is on the upswing. And like he said, it's in cycles, but I think it's on the upswing now, and where we found that some of the scouts weren't coming to New York in years past, they're coming here, and they're picking up some of our top ball players, and the players are producing. And the more they go out there and produce, the more they're going to come back and pick up some more. So it's a great thing.
Now at Hofstra also, right? You have
Hofstra, in the last few years, they've picked up a lot of New York City kids. You've seen that. Also, you've seen a lot of these kids go out, to Virginia, like Ryan Pearson, who went to Christ the King. He was named the Colonial Athletic Association Player of the Year. You have kids who stay local, and you've seen the last few years, the rise of the local schools have become big-time programs.
Brandon Frazier, right?
Brandon Frazier went to Fordham. They're trying to get something going there. You see LIU has done very well, bringing kids from outside and also keeping kids from within. St. Francis College has gone through a little bit of a renaissance. They've kept kids. Manhattan had a fantastic year, considering they were like 4-20, I think, last year. Ramel Brown from Transit Tech, one of the most underrated high school programs in this city. He was named Defensive Player of the Year in the MAC. So those are great honors for these kids to be playing for local schools and also to get exposure too.
What about St. John's? They're going through, understandably, their coach has an illness right now, but they're not as strong as they used to be?
Well, they're not as strong. A lot of things have happened with that program. Steve Lavin has cancer. He's fighting cancer, and looks, he's doing very well, but he'll be back on the bench next year. But, there are some players to transfers. Kids, didn't come in, kids who committed didn't actually go to the school. But, and it's been a tough year. But Mo Harkless has been the bright shining light. Forest Hills kid, 15 points, could be named the Big East Rookie of the Year. That's a good thing for a local kid.
James Padgett at University of Maryland.
Doing very well. Yeah, I love Maryland. I love their program out there. Gary Williams is a great coach. Sends kids ready to the NBA. So you never know. Padgett may have a chance, but he's got a good chance as any.
It's funny. It's like the more exposure the kids can get from this area, the greater the opportunity they have of being seen. And organizations like MSGvarsity.com and even what we do over at Game Over, by using the internet, it allows the college coaches to come and see without having to travel and the big travel budgets and things like that. So my hat's off to MSG Varsity and what they do, because it gives a lot of kids exposure and the opportunity to be seen by these coaches.
As far as when you look at schools like LIU, you think they'll start to go after more local kids? Because a lot of their kids also are from, in the South, West.
Well, I agree, but I think also as they do well, some of these kids who decide, well, maybe I want to leave, they may stay.
Maybe a few years ago, kids say, I'm not going to LIU.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of kids who decided, well, we just got to get out of here. Right. But I think you're starting to see maybe those few kids stay. I mean, hopefully St. John's will continue the prominent Seton Hall, the Rutgers, those local
And
type
Wagner
programs.
College also.
And Wagner with Danny Hurley has done a fantastic job over there. The Hurley family's been fantastic. So you see maybe those kids stay here and maybe build those programs.
Absolutely. I think, once again, with the exposure, not only exposure to kids, but the exposure of the home programs, and the kids get to learn about, what's going on right in their backyard. And it's not necessary to go across the country to get top-notch competition, top-notch basketball, and be seen if you want to go to that next level.
There was a recent article, I believe, in the Times that New York City may not be the high school mecca that it once was. Because you have talent everywhere.
I have a theory on that.
Okay.
I think that when the pro team is winning, more people are paying attention to basketball, more people are playing basketball in the streets and in the community, and we get better basketball players in the years that follow. So the Knicks are winning now, or starting to make noise. Let's see what happens.
And the Nets moving to Brooklyn, so you'll see those kids.
But let's get back to basketball. Your theory. Tell us more about this theory.
Well, I've always thought when the team in the city, the home team, is winning,
Okay.
you have more kids that are playing, more kids that are watching, more kids that are interested in going into the parks, and they want to play basketball.
Okay.
And there was a time when I was coming up and the Knicks were a winning team, the parks were packed. Then the Knicks were a losing team, and you can get to a park at any time and find empty courts. But now this past summer, with the interest of Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire, I saw the parks filling up. And this summer, I think it's going to be even more. And the more kids that are interested, the better the talent
We have
is.
a much more diverse group of kids now because Jeremy Lin is playing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that's going to happen too. I think I think more Spanish kids you see as they come here, the second, third generation, they'll be more involved. It's going to be the cornucopia of every.
But now, I mean, his influence as far as the Asian influence.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. I think it has already taken effect. As you can see just by some of the newscasts that the Asian population has really taken on to Jeremy Lin, and I think that their exposure.
They're embracing basketball.
Absolutely. And anytime that you could see somebody who looks like you do anything, whether it's a doctor, lawyer, basketball player, police officer, it has a tremendous impact on you. And I know it did as I was a kid, had a tremendous impact on me, seeing certain things, and I'm sure being Hispanic, it's the same thing. When you see it, then you believe that you can do it, and you strive for it. That's a very simple formula.
Now,
Yeah. I mean, Al Horford, who plays for the Atlanta Hawks from the Dominican Republic, came over here. He became an all-star last year for the Atlanta Hawks. So you can see that the Spanish community see a kid like that. It says, I can go strive for that. I don't have to play one thing, or I'm just baseball. Another. It could be anything you want, and basketball could be a tool as well.
sure. Now, down the street, as you know, the New Jersey Nets will become the Brooklyn Nets. They're playing decent now.
They need Dwight Howard, and because Dwight Howard will mean that they get to keep their star point guard. All right, so you want to keep Deron Williams, so getting Dwight Howard would be a major, major thing. They got their work cut out for them.
Now, from an economic and from a business perspective, do you see a battle between these teams when they're playing? Hopefully, maybe the Nets might be playing at home one night, and the Knicks are playing home the same night. Well, is that the case, and what will happen there?
Well, from my perspective, I think that this is a Knick town right now, and the Nets will have to win. They're going to have to come here and win, and there's going to be a ramp up, and there'll have to be a generational change. It's not going to happen instantly, but kids.
Kids younger, kids 20 and maybe 25 and younger may prefer the new spot.
Sometimes you're a fan of who your parents are a fan of and who they've taken you to see as a kid. But I think that the Nets have a tremendous opportunity. They really, really have a tremendous opportunity because of the cachet and the thought of basketball in Brooklyn, being like the home of some of the greatest players to ever play the game, started right here in Brooklyn. And I think the Nets have an opportunity to cash in on something like that, or to be a part of a great, rich tradition.
Now, Elio, you were telling me, we were talking about the Nets, especially from a collegiate perspective, college basketball.
I think Barclays Center wants to become preeminent place for college basketball as well. I mean, it's not just about the Nets and bringing those in for 41 games, but it's also about making that as exposure for colleges, especially first local. I think LIU and those places can have a chance maybe a few games a year to get themselves some maybe national exposure and to play in a big time atmosphere. And then the Atlantic 10 are going to host their their postseason tournament there. That's a big boost. That means a lot of fans from all around the East Coast are going to come here.
PSAL, will they remain?
The PSA would host some games, maybe maybe championships, maybe some regular season games. Lincoln, Boys and Girls Jefferson. The Brooklyn AA division is the best division, I think, in the country with the talent that they produce and the games they produce. So you can see them getting some exposure. That'd be great for the PSAL and for those schools.
So you think the guard might have to straighten up and fly right a little bit?
Yeah. But if the Nets really want to get involved and get ingrained to the basketball scene in Brooklyn, they need to come and get involved with the Sky Dome right here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn.
And if they win, they will come and people will get interested. If you get Deron Williams and Dwight Howard and those guys and build a win in the next few years, those fans will stay around and they'll fill, and then the next generation will follow them, and that's how they'll stay competitive for a long time.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I believe we are out of time. Thanks for coming.
It's a pleasure.
We'll be back.
As always.
Right, because the basketball season will be over as far as March 17th. There's a championship game at Madison Square Garden, and myself, Elio, Velez, and Mr. Hicks will discuss the aftermath of hopefully it may be Lincoln, it might be Boys and Girls.
Could be Jefferson. Could be Jefferson win their first title in 50, 55, 57 years.
Well, I want to extend the invitation. You guys are welcome here at the Sky Dome anytime.
Right.
All right?
And this is a work in progress.
This is a work in progress. It's going to be a beautiful place, a beautiful facility. Come on back.
Bed-Stuy, the Sky Dome. That's a wrap up for In the Zone. I'm Micheal Bellamy. Take care and have a safe week.
Watch this and other Brooklyn Independent Television episodes online at breakartsmedia.org/BIT.